everybody, welcome back to the Striking Kicks podcast. Chayton here along with
Kenzi.
And we've got another episode for you today. Kenzi, go let everybody know what we're going to be touching on in episode number 3.
We're going to touch on League Night week 4 and 5. I got a new ball, so we'll talk about that. And then we're going to talk about Chayton and the US Open.
Yeah, I don't know about just me in the US Open. I think we're going to talk about the US Open in general, not just me
being there.
Now, no one wants to hear about that. Anyway, League Night week 4 and 5. I was not at League for week 4 because I was at the US Open. So how did I give us a rundown of how week 4 went?
Week 4, it wasn't too bad, but it wasn't great. I don't feel like I had a bunch of pressure on me, so it was more chill until the last game. Me and my mom we each needed to get like 9 pins in the 10th frame, and we both ended up guttering and then getting 1 pin.
Wasn't it like you guys needed like 4 total pins or something like that?
Yeah, we needed like some very small amount that we should have been able to get. But it was weird because on that particular game, anything that she would do, I would instantly mimic the same thing. So our game was pretty identical, and then the end, we only needed a little bit, and we didn't get the little bit.
These guys needed like 4, it was less than 10 pins and 4 shots to win the team game, and they fell short. From what I hear. Poor Andy subbed for me. Stepped up in the 10th frame, didn't matter because we could get 9 pins or whatever it was in 4 shots.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, but other than that, it was pretty fun.
Didn't someone shot 300, right?
Yeah, Corbett Austin shot 300. He was a couple lanes away from us, but yeah, shot a big game.
It's cool. It's tough to do in that center. It's hard to strike a lot.
And it was on the end pair, which when we were at the Storm Utah Open, I felt like a lot of people said it was really hard down there. So,
Interesting. Well, week 5 came, and this was the first time I got to see you bowl competitively, I guess, with your new ball. We threw it a few shots at HQ, Storm HQ, and you looked better. It takes some getting adjusted to. We bumped you to 14 pounds. We got your fit in. We were throwing 12, and now, we bumped you to 14. And go ahead and let them, now that you know we've got a fit for you, you know the fit now. How does a heavier 14-pound ball feel?
I don't know. I said this last time. It doesn't feel a whole ton different, but I noticed that I'm still yanking a little bit, but I think that's just because of like how I'm throwing it. But I feel like I am doing it a little less, right?
Yeah, it's not as exaggerated. You can't manipulate the ball in your backswing nearly as much because the ball's heavier.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when you throw it good, it strikes. We had a couple of shots in week 5 where we kept our shoulders quiet. We didn't pull down from the top of the backswing, and the ball was pushed away on time, got to the bottom of the swing at the correct time, and you came out of it. The ball hooked a little bit, and you actually hit the right side of the head pin and struck. I think it's the first time I've seen you hit the right side of the head pin and strike. We've had a couple where you go through the face and it caves in a bucket or something, or go Brooklyn, but we haven't really gotten one. Every time you hit the pocket, it's like a 4 pin because it's too high, or you 10 pin almost. This time, dead flush with your 14-pound ball, hooked a little bit. We got you in night road.
Yep.
And once everything kind of lined up, your hand was in the right spot without you really even knowing, and it hooked a little bit and struck. So good.
Our grips are different colors, so that bugs the OCD a little bit, but other than that, it's a great ball.
Okay. What does it feel like actually throwing it for score now? Because some people, what happens a lot is a lot of people use their upper body to throw a bowling ball. They use their arm or trying to squeeze it a lot. But now that you have a fit and we've bowled some competitive games, how does it feel? You said it doesn't feel much different from your 12-pound ball. Does your hand hurt at all now? Do you feel like it's harder to throw at all? Anything like that?
I feel like when I'm bowling, I'm actually not thinking about how heavy the ball feels or anything. I'm thinking about a lot of different things because there's a lot of things I need to work on. So to be honest, I don't really pay attention to it.
See, well, I guess it's a good thing that you're not, because that means that it's not glaring. I guess. So you're trying to hang on to it. You haven't really dropped the ball at all, hasn't stuck at all. So I think we nailed your fit. So shout out to me on that one, ball driller guy over here. But you look comfortable throwing it, even though it's 14. I know that's a big question for a lot of new bowlers, that when they bump up in weight, especially when they're using their thumb, how that's going to be, because 12 pounds is a lot lighter than a 14-pound ball. But once you got the fit, it feels better. Your pin carry's a lot better. We were getting consistently 7, 8, or 9. Because in the past we've had those disaster games where you get like 60, 65, and now your bad game is 90, because our first ball.
My lowest game was a 58.
Was that on week 4?
No.
Ew.
That was in the beginning.
Dang. That's Jim Furyk right there for my golf nerds, Mr. 58. But that's not a good score in bowling. But we've avoided that, because I think a lot of what happens now is you get 7, 8, or 9 pins. The struggle that we have now is we don't know where your ball is going. Yeah. So when we have a single pin spare, or at 8, an 8 pins or 2 pin spare, it's a little harder sometimes. We don't have just the luck factor in now anymore. We have to throw the ball in the right direction, because before you'd leave some sort of washout combination. You would just throw the ball again straight, and sometimes you'd get lucky and maybe catch a spare and a strike. But I think we've struggled a little bit now consistently picking up spares. Once we pick up 3 or 4 more of those, you got to think that's 8 to 10 pins per game extra per frame. So if we picked up 3 more spares, that's about 25 pins per game. So we already automatically bump you up to like a 120 game if we just start picking a couple of those spares, because the spare game's been a little rough.
I've only shot a 131 as my highest.
Yep.
And there's been like maybe 2 or 3 other games that are over 100.
A lot of that's because of the spare game. We just don't know where your ball is going. It could go drastically left. It could go horribly right. When you get it right, it's usually pretty good, but it just hurts the most on spare shots, because we have to throw in the right direction, and we set you up to throw it in the right direction, and when you don't, then it's just a dash 8, dash 7, dash. So we're working on it. Kenzie's working on getting some lessons from Marcia. Said that she would give you some lessons. So we got to figure out a time that you guys can meet up and get you some lessons. I think you've got a good base. You look athletic. It's just, at first it's awkward swinging the ball and getting into the right spot. And obviously Marcia's physical game is pretty elite. So
yeah, we just posted her on our Instagram today. So you should go check that out. She killed it at the Storm Utah Open. So there's a shot there.
Yeah. League nights have been a little rough for you, boy. I haven't bowled very good at all at league nights. Steph's just having fun. She's just there.
So some games she does really good.
Yeah, some days the thing is with her, she can she picks a couple. But she has a game where she has like 4 or 5 marks
and gets like 6 strikes.
No, not 6 strikes. No. She has like 2 or 3 strikes and 2 or 3 spares, and then all of a sudden it's 140.
Yeah.
We'll get you. We're gonna get you there. What happens with Steph is she throws the ball a little in the same direction more often is what happens. And that's not necessarily that she throws it well. She throws a little back up. No disrespect, but she consistently throws kind of the same shot, and it's in a general direction. So sometimes she picks a couple spares, especially when she has 4 or 5 shots in a row where she throws it in the same spot. Well, then it becomes a little easier to pick spares. You're a little more sporadic right now. Your good shots are really good. Bad shots are really bad. That's a little bit of me. That's a lot of bit of me. My good shots are really good, And my bad shots are really bad, and I have more bad shots than good ones. A lot more bad shots than good ones. So my spare game's been getting worked on. I had spare time quite a bit.
Mine has not.
We got to get you a spare ball soon. We got to bag that 12-pounder.
Practice is what we need to do, because the only time we're bowling is at league.
When are you going to come practice?
Gary, I don't know.
You don't know? Well,
Next
win.
topic.
Next topic. This guy. What is the next topic?
Are we done talking about league and everything?
I think so, right? You're the schedule keeper. You're the schedule keeper guy.
Nope. Next we got to talk about the US Open.
US Open. I was there. I don't know how many people care about that. It was cool. Met a lot of people. But the show. We didn't really get to watch the show.
We had to watch the first match on Sunday.
And so, okay, we watched Saturday's show. Saturday's show, we had no issues watching, which I'm going to try to keep it PC. But
It's PC.
Politically correct. PC principle. I had predicted it kind of didn't matter. And I was kind of wrong, kind of right. Kind of wrong, kind of right. I said no one from the second show is going to win. And ultimately that was correct. Now there's a little more context to that, but the 9-person stepladder, not for me. Not for me. But that's the only show we really got to watch, was the first part of the 9-person stepladder, which you had some comments on Knowles, the guy that ended up bowling Kyle Troup in the final match of the first stepladder. What did you think of Mr. Knowles?
I thought, so leading up to that, all the matches, he had, 2 or 3 before Kyle?
3 matches.
He was pretty lucky, in my opinion, because he, I don't know if it was a bad shot or what, or it just happened to look bad, but then instantly, the next guy threw it worse or left more pins, and it was just like this constant thing, and it was every single game. But I mean, he looks cool as a bowler. He got his arms all tatted. I don't know. Looks like a cool guy, but he definitely got a lot of, I don't know that they were like lucky breaks or anything, but
no, that's a good assessment. Yeah, he got a couple good breaks.
Yeah, if he threw it bad, the other guy threw it worse.
Yeah. See, this is valuable information because you're not 100% into the sport. You don't know everything that's going on, the small idiosyncrasies and nuances of what's happening. So to the casual bowler or non-bowler that happened to tune in and watch that, this is what they're seeing, is that Knowles, and I could tell you, well, the pattern was really hard, and both of every match they had, they kind of bowled similarly, and you're right that Knowles got lucky quite a bit. He would trip out a split or something, and then somebody else would go and split. Like the Marshall-Kent match, he goes 2-10, 2-10 to finish. So Knowles kind of looked out there because Kent kind of had that one in the bag. But, I mean, this is the perspective of someone who maybe doesn't understand fully the difficulty of the pattern, how the set goes, the pressure that they're under, all of these different little things that maybe a hardcore bowler would know what they're watching. So that's an important takeaway. When the patterns are this hard, a lot of luck comes into play because you're not going to throw 100% good shots. Matches were tight, I'll give them that. The lowest game was like 190, the highest game was like 210, so they were tight, but in my opinion, my entertaining, I guess, opinion, not entertainingly tight. They were like you said, Knowles wouldn't necessarily throw it great and then make a spare, and then the next guy after him would throw it just a little bit worse and then make a worse spare or open, and it's just that kind of back and forth. The pacing gets really slow, and for the non-bowler, I don't know how much they enjoy watching.
I wouldn't say that I didn't enjoy watching it, but it was just kind of like you knew that if he threw a bad shot, the next guy was just going to throw it worse. I called it a few times. Like, oh, he's going to win because this guy's just going to throw it worse.
True.
And
True.
that's what happened.
It is. Yep. So I don't love that personally. And I don't know how attractive that is to maybe people who don't love when bowling's as hard as it could possibly be. So that was the first show. And Kyle Troup ends up winning the match and moving on. And I had said, first show's not going to matter. It doesn't matter. How many often does the 5 seed ever even win the tournament? Not very often. I almost state my words. I didn't end up beating them. Almost did, though. As Kyle Troup almost ran the ladder, and the whole tournament came down to essentially one shot. Now, we only got to watch the first match, which was Richie Teese and Kyle Troup on FS2. Some people didn't have FS2. We had FS2 because Fox was finishing the UConn women's basketball game. FS1 was another women's basketball game, and FS2 was Arena Cross, but they overlaid Arena Cross with PBA. So we watched the first match. First match is over at Custa Commercial, and then we get a notification saying it's going to Fox. Then what happens?
We went to a lot of different channels and ended up on a PBS science type thing.
Yeah. I went to Fox, like I was told by FS2. There was no bowling on Fox. There was PsyQ and some lady telling me about some hippos. And then we jumped around a bunch of channels, and I came back to Fox to see if maybe they changed it. They didn't. We got Great Value Whacked Out Sports. I was not a happy guy.
It was pretty rough.
Fortunately, on my hopefully YouTube is not watching this, but my same account that I have given my parents in Las Vegas so they can watch TV, my same YouTube TV account. I don't have DirecTV because I heard there were some problems with DirecTV and Fox or some other channel. We don't have DirecTV. We have YouTube TV. My parents on the same exact account were able to watch on Fox the final of the US Open. So we had my mom prop up her phone onto their projector, their $150 projector onto a white wall. You can barely see anything. Couldn't hear and watched it on FaceTime. We had to watch bowling on FaceTime. How many people are going to go through the links to watch bowling on FaceTime?
I wouldn't have.
I don't know. And that was pretty rough for me. I'd love to go into all the different nuances of the game, but I was pretty salty for most of it. I missed most of it up until the 3/4 of the way through the Simo Troup match, which was the second to last match.
And the match that you wanted to watch.
Yeah, that was the match. That was the match I wanted to watch. And it ended up being that EJ Tackett and Kyle Troup's match was good. Get to that here in a sec, but your boy was pretty salty. The boy was pretty salty. I don't know, we kind of talked about this a little bit, and I could see the only thing that network television has at this point is sports, in my humble, and that maybe be a little drastic right now, but I think why they spend so much money on the rights of NASCAR, NFL, MLB, NBA, all these big sports, they don't really care about bowling all that much. I don't know. That maybe is a discussion for another day, how long the Fox contract lasts with the PBA, because some of the production wasn't great, and we'll get to that here at the end. But
IQ is more important.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. We don't have these issues streaming to, YouTube. That's what we use. So obviously, we're gonna be biased. That's biased, I know. But Peacock or any of the other Amazon Prime, Prime Video, because they have the NFL now. YouTube TV has as the NFL. They're not regionally based. There's no regional affiliate with these things that can mess it up. So I don't know. In 5 to 10 years, when the people that, if you pay for DirecTV that much money, God help you, I guess. I would look at other avenues. But once those people kind of stop paying or don't exist anymore, put it nicely, I don't know how much longer TV has, network TV, and they're going to have to find ways to stream it, because it's just, I can't, that is unacceptable to me. and it doesn't happen anywhere else except TV, and they make you pay up the ass for it, and then they still mess it up. And there's contract issues. You pay for DirecTV, and then because they couldn't negotiate a deal with Fox, then you don't get it for like 3 weeks. What a mess. What a mess. I think eventually it'll just be more profitable for NASCAR, NFL, NBA to just almost have their own streaming stuff, or make a deal where it's streamed on the internet and there's no regional-based BS. There's my rant on that. You got my fire.
Quite the rant.
Anyway, back to the bowling. The Simo match, I don't even really know what happened, to be honest with the Simo match. I heard a lot of things. I heard it was good. It was a little chippy. Don't know exactly what happened. I think Simo said he missed a move on one of the lanes. That was it's kind of the thing with TV. It transitions very quickly, but with that much oil, the transition's really weird when it happens fast because there's not a lot of developed friction left. So typically when you're bowling on a tournament, as you take up oil in the middle part of the lane, you can kind of inch left, right, and then you just develop more friction to kind of slow the ball down. But when it happens so fast because the oil's hot from all the lights, when you do that jump in, there's not enough friction to slow the ball down, and it gets very tough. So when it transitions fast like that, it becomes very difficult. From what I hear, Simo misses a move. A lot of people have told me he probably had that game in the bag until then, and then Troop ended up winning. So we bowl EJ Tackett. This one I actually did get to watch most of. It was a good back and forth match, and lo and behold, the US Open and $50,000, $100,000 to first, 50 to second, $50,000 came down to one shot. And Kyle Troop, I heard he threw a really bad shot in the Simo match, apparently, that didn't end up hurting him too bad, but I feel like this match, that ball in the 10th frame was awful. It was well left. Tough. I mean, the guy's been on TV. He's probably a top 3 or 4 bowler right now in the world, but the ball's bad. It was a good 5 or 6 left and big for it.
Yep.
Kenz, we need some of your opinions on this.
But that's the thing is I don't. Okay.
All right.
So there's some shots I can see that I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good one, or I can identify that. But then there's some that I'm like, I don't have that feeling.
So what did you think of the match in general? The Kyle Troop and EJ Tackett match. What did you feel about it?
From what I remember, that was like 2 whole days ago. So, it was pretty close the whole time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was pretty close the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like so like if one did something bad, the other one did something bad, but it wasn't like worse. It was just like the same almost. Is that right?
Yeah, I think they put a good back and forth match that was entertaining. I do think that match specifically. I think the rest of the matches, take it or leave it, in my honest opinion, this match was pretty good. Obviously, it's the title match. Kyle Troop on the right lane goes, he was 7-9, tripped the 9 out. Then I think he flagged the 7, and then the next shot on the right lane, 7-9, back-to-back on the right lane. That was tough to watch. But yeah, ultimately it was very close. $50,000 came down to one ball. Kyle Troop face. EJ Tackett steps up and flushes.
You have a very good memory.
Yep. Yeah. I pay attention to these things. These things are important. So, hey, we got a little bit of. I remember when we introduced the idea of the Championship Bowling Masters, and people were like, "What ball rolled off? That's too much luck." Well, guys, it's good to watch. It's fun to watch. We had a lot of people. Your mom sat back behind the Nick Bagaro, Kyle Morrison match. They ended up with Kyle Morrison 17ing, and she was shook. I looked back, and the draw was on the floor. She doesn't know anything about bowling, but she knew that was an awful break to lose the match after in his 16th game. So it's entertaining to watch, and even you can bowl as many games as you want in this US Open, and it came down to one shot. EJ Tackett struck, and Kyle Troop didn't. So we're just making it happen more often. That's all. We're just making it happen more often because it's entertaining to watch.
Yeah, we're just making it happen in a more exciting way.
Yeah. So props to that match. It was good. And my final gripe, maybe not my final gripe, but one of my biggest issues, and this is where I really get that Fox kind of just doesn't care about bowling, is the US Open. Biggest tournament in bowling. Supposedly the most prestigious, right? A major championship. EJ Tackett wins. Okay, very emotional. He lets out his emotions. He looks great. Honestly, good. We only got 30 seconds of that. My man ran over to hug his dad, and we got Randy Peterson out there. I don't even know what he said. Something, is that his dad or Daddy Tackett? Or
Yeah, he said Daddy Tackett.
Something to that extent that didn't really make sense. And, I mean, maybe that's not Fox's fault necessarily, but we got 30 seconds of it. The guy ran out there with the green jacket, throws it on him. He says, thanks to two people, cut. And now we're watching NASCAR.
Well, and while he was like saying thanks to all these different people, they're just talking about what's coming on. Like they're talking over him. So he's talking. You can hear that he's talking, but then the announcers are talking about NASCAR, and it's just over what he's saying.
Yeah.
So it looks really bad.
It just look. You clearly tell they don't care. They don't care about what's happening. That was a very special moment. Triple Crown. The 9th player to ever get the Triple Crown, EJ Tackett does. He struggled on TV.
Did they say that after, like, when he won? Did they say anything about the Triple Crown?
I don't remember. I don't remember if this is another thing. Okay, Formula One has gotten very popular. Darts has been very popular, and they're popular on social media. They go viral and stuff. NBA obviously been popular. NFL. What do all these things have in common? Is that their commentary is good. These guys, like in Formula One, at the end of the race when it's close, are losing their minds. Darts, these guys they went viral mostly because of the guy calling the action lost it. It doesn't feel big or exciting when we're talking about Danishes and donuts. Danishes and donuts, guys. That's what we're talking about. Could you imagine in the middle of a Formula One race, we're like, you know what the difference between a donut and a Danish is? That's the hole in the middle. Could you imagine? Like, that's just baffling to me. Like, like, if you're watching that, like, that to you were off-put by this. You're like, what are we talking about right now?
Yeah. Well, and the guy in the crowd had his I Love Danishes sign, which because the guy that was bowling was from Denmark.
Right.
So, makes sense. But they cut to that sign at least 7 times.
Yeah, and they just kept talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so that's just one.
So then at that point, it just seems like there's nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
About not stupid, a sign, a random sign in the crowd, and you have to talk about pastries.
Yeah, we could do a better job. I don't know. It just doesn't feel big. It doesn't feel important. It doesn't feel exciting when we're talking about nonsense, unfortunately. And this is bowling's biggest tournament, right? It's supposed to be the most prestigious, and just a lot of things wrong that just don't sit right with people, I don't think. And obviously, the hardcore bowlers are going to be very excited because EJ Tackett won the Triple Crown. That's really cool. But objectively, from a perspective that isn't a hardcore bowler, I know a lot of people were saying because, like, the Pro Bowl was on, people didn't really want to watch. There wasn't a lot of sports going on. NBA wasn't really on. Football was over, right? We're waiting for the Super Bowl. There's no baseball. NASCAR hasn't started yet. Like, there's not a lot going on at that time. So we had some people watching, and they get introduced to that. And I don't know, maybe I'm the minority in that. I think I've seen a couple of comments saying they only gave EJ Tackett X amount of time. NASCAR had like 10 hours of coverage of the Clash, an exhibition race at the beginning of the season. They did all kinds of interviews, made it feel important, gave us some backstories on some of the race, the drivers and stuff, and we just do none of that. We do none of it. And then at the end of, like, when EJ is in tears, essentially, we get no interview, we get nothing after the fact. There's no no one posted an interview. Like, could we not have taken a camera and just posted it to our social media? You know what I mean? Like, we go down there and interview the guy typically when they win. Like, we have interviewed Cameron Henning, and when we do our own thing, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go down there and try to capture those things, and I can record that on the stream. Obviously, we control the stream, so we're never going to cut it off. But if that's our tournament and so it got cut off somehow, we're going to grab the camera and do an interview. Like, we have to get this emotion. This is important. And just,
I feel like it also takes away the importance for, like, EJ Tackett.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of, now, like, he just won the biggest bowling tournament or whatever, and okay.
Kind of. That's what it felt like. Yeah, they're talking over him while he's kind of like giving his spiel. Like the spiel he gets, they're talking over him on it. I don't know, guys. Like, I know I'm not saying that's directly the PBA's fault, but it's someone's fault. Fox's fault. They don't care, but the PBA signed the deal with Fox. Fox has given them X amount of TV slots. We're trying to take them up by gimmicky 9-person step ladders. I don't know, man. I talk about this a lot. It's very hard to pinpoint one thing and be like, that's what's wrong with bowling. That's why we don't grow like darts, pickleball, Formula One, all these other sports. It's very hard to do, and it's because it's not one thing. It's just thousands of little things that add up, and then it's giant. It's just drastic. You just keep pointing out different things, the announcers, the way it's presented on TV, the way it's shot. You have non-bowlers doing it, and they don't know what's cool. Then you have non-bowlers announcing it, which we want non-bowlers' opinions, but then they're talking about stuff that's nonsense. They don't take it seriously, and that's just a microcosm of a bunch of different things that's wrong. And unfortunately, when you bring someone new to the game, I want to say, hey, guys, my buddies, PBA's on, nothing else on. Let's click it on, and we're talking about Danishes, donuts. They're going to laugh at me. Honestly.
Danishes, donuts, and Daddy Tackett.
It's just
the 3 Ds of ball.
It's frustrating to watch, and I don't know. We're doing our own thing. We're trying to fix it, and we'll see what happens with that. I guess I don't know. It's frustrating. There's a little bit of my rant. You'll probably hear more of it. That's your boy's opinion, and Kenzi is a little biased, but she doesn't have quite as much bias as me, I don't think. But she doesn't have the bowler's perspective on things. So when these things are popping out to her, she's not the only casual bowler that's popping out to and says, what the hell is this? And that's a problem. That's a problem because those people aren't going to be vocal. They're not going to be vocal. They don't follow people they don't follow the PBA on social media. They're not active bowling. They don't typically post bowling. It's just now that we're seeing a resurgence in younger people post about bowling on their social media. So they're just going to be pretty quiet about it. Yeah. Anyway.
What's the point of saying something to people that don't seem to really care?
True.
To change.
Add that to the 1,000-long item list of things that are wrong. So anyway, the ending was great. The final match, I'll give them props. The EJ Tackett Kyle Troup match was dramatic. Kyle Troup had a shot to shut him out. Didn't do it. EJ Tackett steps up, packs 10. What more could you ask for? That is what you ask for. It's not 50 games of straight qualifying to see who can lead the tournament by the most pins. It's not who could throw as many games as possible to see who's truly the best bowler. People don't care. I don't know. Let's qualify more matches. We like to see head-to-head matches. Bowling does it really well, I think, and we need to capitalize more on it because of that. If we showed that small portion to somebody who's non-bowling, they might feel something. That's pretty cool. But over the course of 2 days and 9 different matches, it kind of gets lost in translation. So, I don't know. Good match, though. Good match. EJ Tackett, Kyle Troup. Congratulations, EJ Tackett. And we learned. It confirms to me, and even at the US Open, with as many games as you have to bowl to get to the show, it comes down to one shot. And it's pretty damn dramatic when it comes down to one shot. So, hey, Championship Bowling Masters, the end of September. You're going to see some one-shot roll-offs, baby.
Be there, be square. And you got to shout out Dallas for how far he went.
Dallas, yes. Friend of the channel. Bowls on the events, Dallas Leong. Great run. I wish I could have put money on him. So this is another thing. Fox Bet says you can make all...
Oh, no.
Anyway, I'll make this quick. Fox Bet, they have like an app. There's only like 4 states you can actually bet on it. Said that they were going to make odds and stuff, and they kind of did, but they only let you bet a very low amount. And I heard that there was problems with it all the time. Just stuff like that. They say they're going to do some, and they only do it half-assed. I feel like betting and bowling would be legit. I don't know why it is. Does anybody in the comments have connections to odds makers in Vegas? Why do they not? Why can we vote? Why can we bet on the randomest freaking things, but nationally televised bowling we're not able to? There's got to be someone smarter than me that knows the answer to that question. I don't know. Anyway, that's the last thing. Shout out to Dallas, because the only reason I bring that up is because I would have put money on Dallas, especially after the first day, because his odds would have been astronomical, I feel like, and he made it pretty far. He was a couple games away, it sounds like, from having a real shot. Like he got a little lost in match play. I think it sounded like match play sounded a little bit softer. I don't know. I saw some bigger scores in match play. It could have been just the bonus pins. Dallas looked like he struggled a little bit, where other people like EJ Tech had led by almost 200 pins. That's the only reason to bring it up. Shout out to Dallas Leong, making it far in the US Open. We've seen him on the channel quite a bit. I know someone asked, I think, remember, on like Facebook, who's Dallas Leong? Yeah. Yep. We got the content over here. A lot of good bowlers. A lot of good bowlers.
And do you want to know why he did so well?
Why?
Can you take a guess?
Mm.
Because he did it for Jordan.
Oh, like what?
That's our girl on Mean Girl Pod. So if she ever wants to hang out with me, Dallas could be there maybe.
We're going to clip this part and post that and tag her and be like, hey, what's up?
We've been trying.
You know.
We've been trying.
Big time this. All right. Well, Ken's, that's Striking Kicks, episode 3, epic rants, and some good perspective. You got any last words for those watching at home?
No, I don't. Hopefully I do better in league tomorrow. We've made the halfway mark, and I've not gotten much better, so.
I think you've gotten better. We like we said, we eliminated those 60 games, 50, 60 games, because we're getting 7, 8, or 9. Yeah, but that's progress. That's progress. You need to take a step back and understand that this is your 5th time bowling competitively. Anyway, I was going to say something. What was I about to say? Oh, we got some cool stuff in the works, guys. And we announced recently that we're working with Steve Klemkin and the Coach K Scholarship. So we got some pretty special things in store other than just making a donation to a good cause to help some kids and their academics. But we've got some cool things coming down the pipeline. Details are being worked out right now. And like I mentioned in some of the live streams, February, March-ish in this time. So we're getting real close to some big announcements. If you're on the website, championship-bowling.com, sporadically, you'll start seeing things coming through as I start to build them so that we can make some announcements. There's some things right there. There's some dates of some events. Don't know where they're at yet, but we got the dates down. We should have locations here soon, names of stuff, and a lot of cool stuff rolling out here very soon. So, if you don't already, hit that follow button on all of our platforms. Subscribe to the channel, and go to the website.
Podcast.
And podcast, yes. Apple Podcast. Yeah, Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Please help us out. Spotify.
Leave us a comment somewhere.
We're going to start doing guests. So if you have in mind someone you want to see, hear from on the Striking Kicks podcast, let us know down in the comments.
Yes. Your favorite bowlers or whatever.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, that is it for episode 3 for the final time. We'll see you next time.